universe is calling you. The universe is calling me. It speaks both day and night. It's full of dark and light.
Hello and welcome to the deep, dark lair of Sky Tour Radio. I am here with Tara down there. I'm here with Amanda over there. And I'm here with Daryl down there. How are you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good.
Happy
Amanda,
New Year,
how are
everyone.
you?
I was going to say, it's our first show in 2022. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep.
That's right. Happy New Year to you too. And Daryl, what's going on down there in the corner?
Oh, hey, Mark. Blue skies came back finally today.
Ooh, blue skies, but chilly, I bet, huh?
It was this morning when it was cloudy, but Bluebird Day now.
Well, I love it. I love it. Well, I want to welcome you guys and all of you listening to us here on Sky to Radio. I'm Mark D'Antonio, your weirdo that runs this radio show, and they're the ones that keep the show going sanely. Okay, Sky to Radio has been on the air now for several years, and we have been doing gangbusters, getting a lot of really positive feedback. I want to thank all of you for that. And we've been following some of the latest things that have been going on, and you have been following the development of Sky Tour Livestream Observatory. We have two telescopes. We have an East Coast presence. We have a West Coast presence in the Arizona desert. Sky Tour Livestream is free for all takers to come in and enjoy. We have special programs, too, for those who want to do some less than free things. But Sky Tour Livestream is really a deep sky observatory that's at your disposal. If something's up that you want to see, then you can ask me. Daryl is usually with us, okay? Amanda will be here with us, and Tara's sometimes with us. And we're the team, man. We are the Sky Tour Livestream team, and we try to accommodate you. If you want to see something interesting, we'll show it to you. You want to learn about something, we'll teach it to you. If you want to explore something, we'll explore it with you. And as Amanda says sometimes, she'll say, if you're not careful, you might learn something. And it's true, right? I mean, it's still true. Amanda is an example of one of those people who's learned something.
I learn several things every week. Every time I talk to anyone on screen here, anyone in chat, actually, our chat, the smartest chat out there. I mean,
is that not the fact?
I don't know how they do it. They all seem to have read all the same articles that you're about to talk about. They're all following the same kind of, well, I think everyone was following James Webb, but I mean, like, everyone already knows what you're talking about, and they're looking forward to hearing and asking more specific questions where we can discuss it. Like, that's why I find it hard to read these articles, because if I don't understand, where do I go? I just Google every day, what does this term mean? What does this term mean? And if I don't understand from there, I kind of hit a wall, right? But I have great people like you and Daryl and all the people in chat. I see Kathy and Charles, and I mean, they know their stuff better than anyone, and everyone's so willing to help. They're also excited and passionate about it. It's wonderful.
It's true. It's true. And you meet a lot of people along the way that changed your path too, because Sky Tour Livestream started off as an observatory where I was just sitting there talking to people, and it was basically one-sided. Then you joined and you were kind of from the day one as the co-host in Sky Tour Livestream, Amanda. And it started to become a conversation between you and I and everybody else. Now, with the addition of Daryl, who comes in all the time now, and sometimes Tara, okay, who's always got a smile. Look at that smile. She's always smiling, okay? Now we have a situation where we're all offering information for people, and they can take what they need and leave the rest, and I think that it's really cool the way that works, And Tara's been with us for a few times, and she's actually a creative director for Sky Tour Livestream. How you doing down there, Tara? You doing okay?
Doing great. Doing great.
Yeah. You went on are you sore today? I know that you went on an extremely long hike yesterday.
We did a really extremely long hike yesterday. I'm a little sore, but I felt great. I'm very surprised. I thought I'd feel better, but ask me tomorrow. I may not be able to move.
Okay. What Tara's not telling you is she climbed a mountain yesterday. Okay.
A big mountain.
And she did it with Mary and Rob. They actually went up a cliff at one point, and they got to the top of this mountain in order to investigate a UFO sighting.
Yep. Very interesting. And after that hike, I know nobody was up there playing a prank, because that is not an easy place to go and get away from quickly in the hopes that someone might see you. So it was really fun. Beautiful day.
It took like over 3 hours to get up there, right? Overall, it was like a 6-hour trip.
6 hour and 40-minute trip. Yep. So It took a while to get up there, and we just took our time and played it safe, and it was well worth it. Yeah.
So. Marianne, though, was the only one to actually get stung by a cactus a few times.
Oh, no. So she's real good at it. She did great at that. Not on purpose, I don't think.
See, I remember my first exposure in the desert, and I don't know, Daryl, if you've been to the Arizona desert, but there are these jumping choyas, which are these round balls. And if you look at them funny, they just go, boink, they stick to you. I mean, it's like,
they're magnetic.
It's almost like they're magnetic and they're attracted to your DNA. But I remember going out there the very first time I was in Arizona. I'm walking out in the path on a dirt road out where the future observatory site. I look down at the ground and I see one of these round pods, which is a cholla. It's all spiny. And I figure, it's a little cactus thing. I kick it. I'm wearing sneakers. The next 45 minutes was absolute sheer horror, because those spines went through the sneaker like it wasn't there, embedded in my feet and on my foot. And I was now like 100 yards. That's about 300 feet from the place where I was staying. And I had to hobble back on one foot to get back to the place so I could use pliers to pull these out of me. All right. And that's one of those things you never do again.
You hope.
You learn.
Sounds like a porcupine.
It, kind of. I witnessed a dog get hit by a porcupine, a dog. Yeah, cute little dog named Maxie, which is too bad. And one pair of pliers yanking each of those spines out, and the dog was not happy.
No.
Yeah.
They have little hooks. It hurts.
Yeah. And then he had to go to the vet and get antibiotics and all that. So that's really, really just not a good thing. But so obviously you got to have your wits about you and take care. I know better than most that's important out there. So that said, I'm glad that you're back with us and had a great hike. I look forward to seeing the pictures, by the way, when you put those up on Facebook, will you? So we can see them.
We'll have Marianne do that. Definitely.
Okay, love to see those. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And shameless plug, you can catch Marianne Robb every Wednesday night here on your ADV, 6 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday nights on iDetective.
iDetective.
Awesome.
She told me a little bit about, I didn't know she went with you. I think she went up one time with the witness, and then I guess
they went
back. Yeah,
she went partially way up the beginning of the week, and then we did the full trip.
Yeah.
Well, when the report's in, maybe we could discuss it on MUFON What's Up, which you can catch Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern here on KGRADB. I'm shameless. I'll try not to talk for the rest
plugging
of
anything.
Hey, anything you want.
We're all friends.
Any kind of interest you have, you can get it here on KGRADB.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
Just stay here all the time. You'll love all the shows.
Yeah. No,
Can you say the name of the mountain?
Oh, it was the Superstitions. We were up in the Superstitions, and we were off the hieroglyphic trail.
Okay.
So that'll help.
Where there's actually petroglyphs.
And there's waterfalls. It's just the most beautiful. I've never seen the desert so healthy. It is beautiful.
That's great. I can't wait to go check that out next time I'm there.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
So
you see, this is great. And now you want to see the pictures, right? I can't wait. Now we go from the beautiful and surprisingly fertile desert all the way to the moon. Okay. Because now one of the things that I wanted to talk about was something that just came out in the news. You've heard of the Chang'e 4 lander, which is the Chinese lander, which landed on the far side of the moon. Chang'e is the mythical Chinese goddess of the moon. And this particular lander landed in January of 2019. It was a successor to the Chang'e 3, which landed on the far side of the moon as well in 2013. So it's two far side missions. And the Chang'e lander has a rover called the U2. And U2 actually saw something really interesting. Okay, this is the lander right here. All right, that's Chang'e. And here is the U2 rover. And the rover spied something in the distance, which you see it here as this lump on the distant horizon. But because the moon doesn't have air or reference points or things that there was no way to know how far this was unless they did like a laser rangefinder on it, which they did. And this object was 80 meters away, or 263 feet from the lander. So the U2 approached it, and the purpose was to try and identify what this thing was. So as U2 approached it, it was able to see that this object that had been nicknamed a hut, for lack of a better term, like a field hut that you'd go in, a tent, whatever, discovered, as expected, it was a rock. Okay, so this is the U2 actual photo taken of this rock. All right, so you can see beyond it, there's a little crater, and sometimes when a meteor strikes the moon, it will excavate lots of debris, some big blocks, sometimes little tiny rocks. This is one such rock. Okay, like that.
Is that big or little?
That's little. That's not. I mean, it's probably about. If you saw it you're seeing it from this distance, that's 263 feet away. So that's not that small, but it's certainly not a gigantic block. Okay, this is probably
big as a bread box, big as a car. Probably smaller. I think it's way smaller than a car, but way bigger than a bread box. It's somewhere in between. I didn't get an exact size. I mean, I could measure the pixels and knowing the distance, figure out the calculation. I just didn't think it was worth doing that because it was supposed to be something I just spend a few minutes with. But
you said that
it's intriguing.
It is.
I see. I might have figured it out, but I'm just gonna ask anyway. You said, that the moon doesn't really have any markers, but I was thinking, well, what wouldn't they use like the mounds and the craters as markers to kind of figure out where it is? But then I'm thinking this is the far side of the moon. Is this our first attempt at mapping the far side of the moon? Is that why we don't have locations? Or
no, this is a Chinese mission, and the Chinese don't tell us a whole lot. But that's really all it is. But we know where they landed, and we have a very good idea of what the far side looks like. We know the far side almost as well as the near side because of the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is orbiting the moon and has mapped everything on the moon. This rock here is probably just slightly below the limit that you could see from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. All right.
Okay, so it's not that we didn't have like locations or coordinations; it's that they weren't telling us.
That's
okay.
There's that. Yes, that's a problem as well. Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So there you go. So that was the Chang'e and the mystery of the hut on the moon. Okay. Now, in the best news of all, the James Webb Telescope has been fully deployed. So we should just give a collective cheer. Yay. Okay. The James Webb. You've seen the James Webb. Okay. Here it is when it was being readied for flight. Okay. Here is the mirrors wide open during testing. And here is a full-size replica of the James Webb sitting on the front of the Goddard Space Flight Center lawn with the people who are working on the project. You can see those layers of fabric. Those layers of fabric are very important. Those are the sunshade fabrics that were talked about. And people ask me the question, now that it's fully deployed, okay, and fully deployed like this, then tell me something. Why don't they have cameras on board so we can see what it's doing? Why do they have to rely on sensors and temperature readings and mechanical switches to tell them something deployed? Why not just have a camera to look at it?
That was my big question when we
See
watched
that?
the launch.
See?
I'm like, where are the cameras?
See?
I want to follow every second of this voyage.
Right. And in the YouTube world, that's exactly right. And you would think that they're rather simple to do at this point. You know, it's almost a given you'll have cameras. I mean, Elon Musk has cameras on everything, you know.
Elon Musk has everything.
Exactly. But it has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with budgets. It has nothing to do with that. It actually has to do with the fact that the cameras present a problem. All right. Because if you remember, there's a shaded side to this. And in the absolute cold, the underside is where the sun is hitting. And then the shade up here in the shade, this is where all the instrumentation is. And this shade has to be maintained. And if you have a camera, it means you have to have a power cable running to that camera. Power cables give off, no matter how slight, heat, infrared energy. And so all of those cable runs to the cameras would have to be highly ultra shielded, and the cameras themselves to work at minus 240 degrees Fahrenheit on a daily basis would probably have to be completely redesigned from scratch and built brand new. And that would be untested hardware that would have to fly. So not that the Webb isn't, okay, but if you consider it, there were too many technological hurdles to make it so we could see what's going on at Webb. Keep in mind that the distance the Webb is sitting, it's an 11-second turnaround time, so everything would be delayed. And then you have to worry about the resolution coming in, the transmission. All of that stuff can interfere with the very sensitive instrumentation on the Webb. So they said, we're just going to use switches and mechanical relays, and we're going to be able to detect temperature changes. And we'll get hard stop data when things come to a stop, and then we'll know where they go.
I heard it said the other day, too, by somebody at NASA, not to put it too simply, but there's nothing to see on the dark side of the sun shield anyway.
You have to have a light.
Yeah, it's just coal black out there.
Yeah. So that's why they would have to redesign cameras from scratch. And unfortunately, to do that would require years and years of development, that we don't have access to right now or couldn't do at the time. Remember, Webb was under I guess it was being built for almost a couple decades now. I think they had 2 decades worth of research into the Webb.
Yep.
But that said, that sun shield that I showed you, that part that you see in this image here, you see those silver things. Those are about the length of a tennis court. Okay, that's huge, and it's made of a very interesting material, and that material is this material right here. This is Kapton plastic. It's actually a very, very hardy, rugged plastic. You can even see through me. You can see through it right here and see me through it. Okay, this plastic, I have a roll in the shop, which is about 5 feet tall, and there's a little one like this. This stuff is very, very difficult. You can't tear this. You can't tear this stuff. It's really, really rigid. So not rigid, but its strength is very, very high. But if you make a slight puncture, it'll just pull apart. So the sun shield is made of that stuff. Okay, 5 stretched layers of that stuff. You can stretch this all you want. I'm pulling it. You can't break this. It won't tear. But if you have a puncture, that could happen. So let's say you have a meteor strike. It could actually start a tear that would continue. So that's why they put what are called ripstop seams. Every so often they had these seams where they were stitched together. And so the tear, if any, would stop at that seam and wouldn't allow it to go any further. And that would maintain the integrity of the sun shield. So that's the Kapton plastic. It's Kapton, Kapton.
Is the sun shield aluminized?
I don't know what they coated the sun shield with, but they had to cover it with something, obviously, because Kapton naturally is transparent. But the bottom layer is the one that's the most important, the one that's facing the sun directly. That one actually has to capture as much of the sun's heat as possible and minimize the transmission to the second layer. There's 5 layers, okay? and it has to, minimize that. And to give you an idea, actually, of what actually happened when it was up in space doing this, I want to actually bring this up. Let me show you this. This is the tensioning of the sun shield in time lapse. Okay, this is what it looked like at Goddard when they tensioned it. That's all Kapton being stretched, right? That happened successfully out in deep space. And you notice that the mirrors up here are folded back. There's supposed to be another row here and another row on the right, and they're folded back. Notice also this boom. This is the secondary secondary mirror rather, and that's folded back. Everything fit in a package this wide, okay, and then as tall as it wanted to be, as it wanted to be, because that had to fit inside of a normal rocket, and so the rocket bodies are only a certain diameter, and this had to fit inside. So that's why they made the mirror segmented and folded in the outer halves. But to show you what that looked like, obviously there were no cameras, as we said, but we do have video. Now, after the sun shield was tensioned, then the secondary mirror was folded down, and this is what that looked like. It comes down, and then right here, this locks, all right? And when that locks, there's a latch, okay? It's called latching, and it connects this to that permanently, never to come apart ever again, okay? Now, to get an idea how big this is, see this thing here? This is a central baffle, and this is through which the light goes back down. The light hits the main mirror, comes in, hits this secondary mirror, then goes right down through a hole in this baffle and goes out the back and gets shunted to all these various instruments. Well, when that happens, okay, this object here, to give you an idea, if you were to stand with your feet down here inside the mirror, okay, and this was facing up, and you were standing here, this part here would come up to your chest, okay? And you wouldn't probably be able to look straight down this thing without actually lifting up and getting up on your toes to look straight down in that hole. So that's how tall this is. That's pretty big. All right.
The mirror itself, I guess if you measured from the bottom flat to the top flat there, it's 21 feet, isn't it?
That's correct. It's a 21-foot mirror, and it's got about 100 times the capability of Hubble on a variety of ways. Hubble had an infrared camera too, but it wasn't like this camera. This is very different. Okay, so that's the secondary mirror. Now, we talked about the primary mirror. Daryl just mentioned. Well, this is one side of the mirror folding in. Okay, this is the port side rolling in. So that folded in, and after that folded in, well, then the other side folded in as well. And just to be complete, I'll show you that one. All right. So that's this guy folding in now. So that's the other side. All right. And once that happened, and this was in this final configuration, the telescope was fully deployed. Every one of the failure points, they were called failure points, little latches that had to be, shot off at one particular time or another. Every one of those failure points for deploying the telescope in general worked fine, 100%. So there's still failure points available for instrumentation and other things, but especially the mirrors. Each of these mirrors move and can be manipulated. And that manipulation is going to allow each of these mirrors to then be focused on that secondary mirror and do the proper focusing. So that's most important. It's like a collimation process, like we had to do with SkyTour livestream.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the accuracy of the curve generated in those mirror segments, you're looking at millionths of an inch, and the accuracy that all those mirror segments have to be collimated to the secondary mirror, and then ultimately to the inside the baffle, to the instrumentation. You're just talking, incredibly fine adjustments to get them all focused at exactly the same point.
That's right. And when Daryl says collimating, what that means is, think of it as aligning the mirrors with each other such that there's a perfect alignment across all the mirrors and that secondary mirror out there. That alignment has to be perfect. That was the problem with SkyTour livestream, if you guys recall. And when I went out there, I fixed the alignment, and I did this collimation process. And now our eyes have never been more wide open in SkyTour Livestream.
That's right. Hey, I have a question. How long will it take them to align the optics?
That is an excellent question that Daryl's going to be able to speak to in just a moment.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
I got a diagram for that.
Oh,
actually,
good.
Daryl sent me the diagram for this. This
Cool.
is good. Yeah, so we're not going to lose that on you. Okay, I want to mention something to you before we do this. Okay, it's heading out to Lagrange Point 2. It's like a parking spot in space. Okay, and this parking spot in space is an area where the telescope is going to have to, it's going to have to orbit. It's not going to be able to just sit there. It's going to actually have to make a little circuit. Okay, and because it's called metastable, it's not a fully stable Lagrange point. A fully stable Lagrange point means a true parking spot where you can just sit and do nothing, and you'll still just carry on. Nothing will affect you. Okay, that's like Lagrange point 4 and Lagrange point 5. There's 5 of them, right? We have 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2. 2 is where this telescope is going. Okay, and there's a third one. And they're all in a line with each other. But then 4 and 5 are at like 60 degrees ahead and behind our orbit. And if you're there, those are stable Lagrange points. These other 3 that are in a line, they're metastable. You still need a little finesse to stay in that location, but it's a far, far less daunting task. Okay. And speaking of that, let's put this diagram up because Daryl brought this up earlier, and I thought it would be a great way to have him tell you how the telescope is going to make its way and what it's going to do when we get there. Go ahead, Daryl. You can take it away.
Okay. Well, in the image there, if you look at the Webb up at the top left, it is presently on its course, on its path to the L2 point. It's going to reach the approximate L2 point in about 30 days after launch. And it's going to assume its orbit Mark mentioned, where it's going to be in a sort of a slow orbit around the actual L2 point shown there in that orange circle at the center, labeled L2. And once it gets there after 30 days, it's going to take about 90 days or 120 days, 30 days to the L2 plus 90 days in its orbit around the L2 point. That green part you see, that is all optical alignment of the telescope components, where they're going to be dialing in the 18 segments. You see there in simulated image search stacking number 1. That's where they're bringing the 18 mirror segments into focus to number 2, then to number 3, ultimately to number 4 there, where they will achieve perfect alignment of all 18 segments to the secondary and ultimately to the tertiary receptors inside the horn element there in the center of the telescope. That's going to take about 90 days. After that, they're going to move over to the left side, and all the scientific instrument commissioning will happen, where they're going to be dialing in and tuning up all the instrumentation on the Webb telescope to get everything into perfect alignment and operation. The instrumentation there, I think Mark is going to talk more about maybe in a little bit.
Yeah.
Bringing the different instruments online and getting the telescope 100% operational. So the first half of that orbit, I think that orbit's about 180 days.
It is.
Where it's going to circle the actual L2 center point. It's going to take about 180 days to complete each orbit. And
a little more, actually, I think, Daryl. I think it's going to be a little more than 180 because science operations will begin before it completes an orbit. Okay.
But it's going to slowly orbit the L2 point. And you can see there that up at the top left, I don't know if you can zoom in, Mark, the spectroscopy ready at 180 days. So, yeah, you're right. That's when they're bringing all the instrumentation on board, ready to go, and it hopefully will be ready at 180 days.
And that
so
means
then
science
science
begins.
operations begin after 180 days. It's got a little bit longer to get back to the starting point of its orbit.
Isn't that crazy, guys? This is what $10 billion gets you. And most of that technology was actually spent in making sure that this instrument can reach the Lagrange point too. It's the technology isn't something that is so far advanced that only the wealthiest people on Earth can afford it. Yes, the mirrors are covered in gold, a fine layer of gold, but that's because gold reflects infrared very, very well, and this is an infrared instrument, and that is why this was made in such a way. This gold covering is crucial. And gold also can withstand cosmic ray bombardment, gamma ray bombardment, and other radiation, but ultraviolet bombardment. It doesn't degrade in the presence of radiation, which other materials do and other coatings do.
Okay, well, here comes a bombardment of questions. Okay,
Sure.
so we're hoping it'll be done 180 days from launch. So that puts us like end of April, early May. And then from that point, is it going to be another 60 days from then before we start getting pictures? Or how does that work? When do we start getting pictures?
I actually, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know when or how that's going to work.
Okay, because I heard 60 days from something for pictures, or the pictures take 60 days to travel back. But I mean, everyone's dying for the pictures, so it's going to come up, right?
Oh, it's absolutely going to come up,
So I was just wondering if we had a timeline, maybe by the summer, maybe.
I don't know. It depends. I know that they're going to. I think they're going to go with like a heavy hitter to image first, and that heavy hitter can be one of a million that I can think of. And I know there's a science docket, and there is some lucky science team that's right at number one on that list, and I don't know who they are. But man, I tell you, I'd be so excited to be like this. Oh, let's go! Come on, go! Webb.
Yeah, well, I think Ronald got here a little late. Did you say what the primary mission for the telescope was? I mean, I know we're going to be getting so much.
I'm going to get into that.
It's infrared astronomy, Ronald.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that, Ronald.
We can't see infrared from down here on the surface of the planet. Ideally, it's out in space. We've had other infrared observatories in the past. We had the IRAS observatory. Back in the early 90s, I think it was. We had the Spitzer Infrared Observatory, which is a little tiny telescope compared to the Webb. The Spitzer, I think, was like 32-inch aperture.
No, it was 2.8 feet. You know, it's barely anything,
And now with the Webb, we're going to have a 21-foot aperture telescope. The Hubble, for instance, was an 8-foot diameter mirror, and we're going to achieve, huge gains in aperture, if nothing else.
That's right.
But the whole thing is it's infrared astronomy. Going to show us views that we can't see from down here on Earth.
Yay! That's awesome.
Let's talk about that for a minute too, okay? Because it's really important to consider what we talk about when we talk about infrared. Okay, this right here, this is our spectrum. Okay. It's the visible spectrum that you see. You see right across here. This is the blue end here, and then this is the red end over there. Okay, and it goes from what we say is about 350 nanometers. That's a billionth of a meter. That's the size of the light wave, to about 700 nanometers. Okay, again, 700 billionths of a meter. All right, and so that is what we see with our eyeballs. That's what we can see. However, this telescope is going to be looking at that far end out in the red, right? It's going to be at around 0.6 microns, which is about 600 nanometers. It'll be out there looking all the way out to 28,800 nanometers, which is, way out past the 750, as you can imagine. Okay. So now there's a reason for that. There's a mission for this telescope that we're going to talk about in a little while. And that's why it's infrared, okay? But I want to show you the difference. What does infrared look like compared to regular light, right? Well, it's very important, and I'm going to do it by using this book, which you might have heard about, The Populated Universe, all right? And I'm actually going to move my camera just a little bit down now, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to put my hand on this book, all right? And now my hand is on the book. Now I take it away. You see anything? No. There's been no change, right? However, if I look at it through an infrared camera, on the other hand, like I have here, this is an infrared system. So let's do this. So now you see this book here, and I'm going to do my best to make this line up. Okay, I'm putting my hand on the book now. Okay, there it is. And there it is. Now, if I pull my hand away now, watch what you see. Whoa, what's that? You're seeing my handprint left behind on this book. That's something that is only visible in the infrared. What is infrared? Infrared is heat. You're seeing the heat left behind. And infrared is also light. All right? We talk about infrared energy. It's light. You know, this is me in the infrared. Okay? Here I am. Oh, look at my nose is a little bit chillier. This is the hotter areas up here. All right? I think that's pretty cool. Now, if you actually want, you can actually get temperatures with this, and that's what this shows you. All right? Oh, I must have a fever. Oh, no. COVID? No, it's not calibrated properly. But you can see that it is actually changing based on the amount of heat that it captures. All right. So this is how infrared technology works, and this is how the James Webb works. Now, the James Webb is going to see from 0.6 to 5 microns. Microns are just millionths of a meter, okay? And, you know, so for instance, 1,000 microns is a millimeter, all right? So 5 microns is 0.005 millimeters. Okay, it's a tiny part of a fraction of a millimeter, 5,000th of a millimeter. Okay, now it's going to see out to 28.8 microns or 0.0288 millimeters. Okay, and that's how big the wavelengths are that we're talking about. Keep in mind that we measure light waves in billions with a B as in beta, billions of a meter. And in the infrared world, we measure in terms of millionths of a meter in microns or even in millimeters. And even longer wavelengths are in centimeter ranges. Okay. And a 1 centimeter long wave is a huge wave in light, in the light world. Okay. So that's how the James Webb is working. So when we look at the visible light versus the invisible light, okay, we're talking about this kind of spectrum. Okay, that visible spectrum is that band of rainbow that you see in the middle. Okay, and then you see to the right of the bottom there, it says 10 to the minus 6. Okay, that's 1 micron. That's a millionth of a meter right there. And we're going to be out to 5 microns. So just part of the red to just a little bit out into that region that says IR. That's where we are. But if you look to the right further, look where that is. Now you see microwaves are out there, FM radio is out there, AM radio, and then really long radio waves. You can have radio waves that are 1 million meters in length, okay, and more. So that has to do with the source that's radiating them. But on the other end, it's very, very small. Look at that, it goes into the ultraviolet to the left of the blue. And you've got X-rays past that. And then that Y is actually the Greek letter gamma for gamma rays. Extremely powerful. You do not want to be near gamma rays when they go off on a gamma ray phenomenon in the universe, because that is fatal to all life, as is X-rays. So obviously, this is something that when we talk about such frequencies, the James Webb is living in that area that's got the infrared. All right. And that's what we're talking about. Now, we talk about the instruments that are on the James Webb. And before I do that, I just want to make sure if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to ask.
I have
Mark,
a
can you
million
put
thoughts,
that
but
spectra back up again for a moment?
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to add there, as Mark said, you see where it says infrared from 10 to the minus 6 to maybe 10 to the minus 3. That's what the Webb is aiming at. And you get above that, you're getting into microwaves, radio waves, long radio waves. We have the higher stuff covered with radio telescopes. These are the big, they look like radar dishes and stuff, like the ALMA array, the very large array, other radio astronomy so-called telescopes, but they're radio dishes. We have all that covered. IR, the Webb, is going to cover what's left there that we don't have a good view of from the planet. And that's what the Webb is for, is to cover that IR section.
That's a good point.
The longer wavelengths are covered by the big radio telescopes. And the shorter wavelengths invisible, and the UV and the X-rays, we have telescopes that cover those also. They're space-based. The Chandra X-ray Observatory, for instance, has yielded some really beautiful images in the X-ray spectrum. And so this is going to kind of help fill the holes that we can't see from down here on the planet.
That's right. Very good point, Daryl. And so when he mentions that, the thing to keep in mind is that that's all below the atmosphere, okay? And infrared light that we want to look at, it's not able to be discerned very well from below the Earth's atmosphere. We have to see it from out in space because the molecules in our atmosphere very, very, very efficiently can disable or destroy or reroute the infrared light that's coming from these objects out there. So we want to make sure that we don't actually try to do infrared astronomy of any serious nature from the ground. You have to be on a high mountaintop. And at Mauna Kea, they do some of that. The Hubble did some of that, but it wasn't as good as the James Webb can be. And that's what's really cool.
The Sophia Airborne Observatory is also infrared, is it not?
Yeah, Sophia is an airborne. Imagine a giant jet that has a big hole in the side with a big telescope sticking out of it. It's not sticking out; it's actually flush. But that is a airborne observatory as well. And you might say, well, if it's airborne, how can it hold its station? How can it see things? How can it not be bounced around? Well, it is bounced around, but the Sophia unit is actually stabilized gyroscopically. It's stabilized better than these drones you see that kind of wobble around in the sky, but the picture looks perfect. It's way better than that. Okay, so Sophia is well balanced and can do some very, very, very good observations, as Daryl points out.
The Sophia is actually built inside a 747.
Yeah,
aircraft.
I would love to go for a ride on that, but I need windows, to be honest. So I hope I have a window seat, but I don't want the big window. That'd be kind of bad.
Does it have an eyepiece that you could look through if you're up there?
It's monitors, but yes, it's got monitors that you have to look through. But yes, and the data that it gets taken sometimes is not data that makes sense to humans initially. When I did my work in astronomy, I used what's called a photometer. I was doing what are called photon counts. I wasn't taking gorgeous pictures of stars and taking pictures of these beautiful nebulae like we do in Sky Tour Livestream. I was looking at particular stars, and I was actually just counting the amount of light photons that were getting to my detector. And that was it. At least that's what it appeared. But then I took that data and turned it into something else. And so that made it into what I was looking for. So science doesn't often look pretty, but the end result can be rather just phenomenal. And that's what we're hoping with Webb. Okay. Webb, on the other hand, will look pretty. I'm pretty sure. Now, in order to look pretty, the Webb has to use certain instruments that are going to do that. Well, we saw the near infrared with the infrared camera that I was showing you. And the Webb has a near infrared camera, right? It's called NIR cam, near IR cam, all right? And it's literally one of the primary Webb instruments. And the near cam, in fact, the entire, I'll actually show you the actual entire structure. This is the entire assembly of all the experimental cameras being installed This is called the instrument package. It's actually the what's the name? What am I thinking? I'm blanking on this. This is actually what's the name of this instrument? I'm trying to find it. Wait a second. Why did I not know this? I knew this like moments ago. You ever have a moment where your mind just goes blank on you?
Senior moment.
Hello.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, it's called the iSim. I just remembered the iSim. It's the integrated science instrument module. That's what this is. It's being lowered down into the James Webb. If you look at this picture, it kind of gives away where it's going, because right there you see that right in the middle at the bottom, you see that black thing that's sticking out of the mirror, which you can see there. The mirror is face down in this image. Okay. And this instrument module, the iSim, is being lowered down to the back, and it's going to go below the slanted back black panel that you see in the middle there. Okay. And that is getting installed. This is what it looks like up close. That truss work is the truss work that's the support structure, and all of these instruments are being installed into that truss work. Okay. So we have the near infrared camera system, which we'll look at. We have the mid-infrared system, which is that was installed there, and those were installed, and those go behind and are behind now the main mirror of the telescope. You can see the iSim package right there. That's in green and blue and magenta, and light blue and dark blue. All right, and then down below are the electronics compartments in the orange. So those were all installed, and that is going to give the Webb its teeth. This is what is going to actually be the thing that makes the Webb work. Okay. And so if we look at it from the back side, there at the top of the image, you can see that slanted black back. That is the thing that we saw here, but from the other direction, looking down on, the things lying flat and it's face down. Okay. This is actually that thing now, that black slanted black back, and there is the instrument enclosure right there, that black thing in the middle. Okay. Now, just to make it clear here, when you look at this, those of you out there that are thinking might say, well, wait, Mark has told us many times that the sun has a strength of a solar wind. It pumps out particles. Well, aren't those going to be striking this solar, or not solar, but this shade here, this large parasol, this gigantic, this tennis court size object? This sunshade is going to get hit by the solar wind. So isn't that going to propel this thing around and make it move directions it's not supposed to move? And the answer is yes, it is. It will. And Kepler, in fact, when Kepler failed, the Kepler Space Telescope, they used the power of the sun's solar wind to actually redirect motions of the Kepler spacecraft, and coupled with a couple of other units called reaction wheels on the Kepler spacecraft, they brought Kepler back to life, and it came back as a new program called K2. And this made tremendous discoveries for several more years. Now, you might say, well, then isn't that solar wind going to affect James Webb negatively? And the answer is it can, except they added this little flap. Now, when you're driving down the highway, do you ever stick your hand out the window and you feel the wind against your hand, and you let the wind drive your hand up and down? Okay. Well, if that was solar particles striking your hand, then you could actually redirect where your hand goes by moving your hand around, right? Well, the momentum flap is just that thing. It's kind of like a rudder for the James Webb, and it's going to help keep it aligned in just such a way that the sun's energy is going to be negated by this momentum flap. Isn't that cool? So that's exactly what's going to happen. So whereas the Webb might want to tip, say, that way, the momentum flap is going to keep it from doing that, and it's going to keep it right on station doing its thing. Because remember, this is not going to be flipping all around and moving all kinds of directions. It's going to be keeping the sun side right here. It's going to be facing the sun this way at all times. It's going to keep this in total darkness for the entire mission. So that's pretty cool. I just thought I'd mention that. That's a neat thing.
I learned something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought you were about to share it with us.
I remember you telling about the Kepler failure and how they redirected it to make it the K2. And I mean, talk about problem solving. Like that, just think about who came up with maybe we could use the solar wind to redirect it. That is so, like, genius is just not adequate. Like, the minds that are working to come up with these ideas, let alone make them realities, let alone actually launch them out into space. Like, it's, you really sometimes have to sit back and listen to these stories and you're like, wow, blown away. Unbelievable.
Well, some of the better spent tax dollars at work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even though this was 10 billion of those tax dollars, it's like, well, what is it that this thing is actually going to do? Well, let's look at the different instruments first, okay? Because I think it behooves us to just think about where these instruments actually play in the field of the infrared, so you understand just what James Webb's going to do. Then we're going to talk about, to answer your other question from earlier, Amanda, that Ronald had asked, why are we looking in the infrared, and what is this telescope's mission? That we're going to be talking about, all right? Probably in the second hour. But for now,
well, it's going to be bringing us so many things. Like, if there was one main objective, like we're going to get so many bonus things, and we might get things we're not even expecting or anticipating, and you know, we might be getting things that we don't even know we have for another few decades. You know, so
that's right.
So right. So the primary kind of what I guess that's probably changed over the decades it's been, you know, in the making, right?
Well, so that's what discovery is all about.
And exactly.
That's where serendipity comes in also, is we learn things that we didn't know.
Learning by accident.
Yeah. What a great time for us to be alive to experience it, you know.
I know.
2 decades on either side, this would have been a pipe dream. Or old news. Yeah.
Well, you know, I see eventually, I see how schools and universities will have their own satellites that they can launch to the moon and explore the moon as programs. I'm going to enter the lunar program at the University of Chicago, and we're going to create a probe. We're going to launch it to the moon, and actually, I mean, I see that coming. You know, now obviously we have to manage debris in outer space and around our orbit of the Earth, because that could keep us earthbound. But that's coming, and that's a whole nother show, you know. But on this particular telescope, now that it's up there, let's talk about the different instruments really quick. I mean, let's see, we've got a few minutes before we go to break, right?
About 4, yeah.
Excellent. I can do it all in 4 minutes.
Tease them. Make them come back the second hour.
Oh, well, they got to hear what it's all about, what the web's going to do, and they will.
If you're not hooked yet, then we can't help you, folks.
That's right. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
So here is the near-infrared camera. This is a CAD drawing of the near-infrared camera. And it's like, well, what is that? Well, actually, that's this. Okay. You can see the lenses, the openings. Okay. This is the near-infrared cam module, NIRCam, NIR cam. And it can observe locations simultaneously. You see it has multiple lenses, so it can actually, and multiple sensors. It's going to look in the near infrared, that zone from 0.6 to 2.3 microns. Okay, like 600 nanometers to 2300 nanometers. It's actually just that near infrared location. All right, and so that's going to be one thing that it can do. It's also going to be able to observe from 2.4 microns to 5 microns. So it can do that whole 0.6 to 5 micron range examination. All right. That's what it's for. Okay. And this is NIRCam all buttoned up on a pallet, ready to be shipped. All right. And then this is the installation of NIRCam into the James Webb Space Telescope. All right, when it was all said and done, the next instrument that is really cool is the mid-infrared instrument, known as MIRI, MIRI, mid-infrared instrument. And MIRI is, again, similarly non-impressive. Okay, it just sort of looks like an instrument, You don't really see too much about it. But this is MIRI being installed. This is the size of that truss to the right. You can see that truss. You can see how big this is. That we're not talking a small object here.
It's huge.
It's a large telescope, and this is MIRI being installed. And now the mid-infrared instrument is going to look from about 5 microns out to 28.8 microns. So that goes out to a long way. Now, what is it that we're doing this for? Why are we looking so far into the infrared? What is important about that region of the spectrum that makes it something that we want to look at?
Can I take a shot at that?
Well, we're going to talk about that when we get back, Daryl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's actually, we're going to talk about the primary missions of the James Webb. I think you know what it is, and we'll when you can mention it when you come back. But we have a couple seconds. I just wanted to mention to you all that when we look at the James Webb and where we've come from, and we look at the installation and all the engineering, can you imagine where we would be if we didn't have engineers like that guy just to the right of center, and that guy just to the lower left, and that guy in the background to the left over there, and the guy you can't even see behind MIRI, okay, who is doing installation. And
I think I see some eyes under.
Yeah, right. You see his eyes.
Yeah.
And his foot.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Oh, and his foot. Yeah. Okay.
So the bottom line is that these people are. I've been in this bay before, not this very bay, but a bay like this for a satellite production that I was working on, and I can tell you, they call these bunny suits, and they actually can get pretty warm in there because you're wearing several layers of suit to keep you away from dusty things, and you have to wear a cable. You can't see their grounding cables, but they have them, and they're wearing a belt system, and they connect that belt to a grounding port or a bus, and it's like a big metal bar, and it keeps all the static electricity that might build up on them or from within them. It keeps it drained off of them. And you have to be very careful how you move in there. You can't generate too much. You can't rub your thighs together and rub your feet together and then touch someone on the nose. You can't do that stuff. Okay, so that's what this is all about.
You know what else we can't do?
I know we can't continue because we have to go in a break.
We can't skip break. I hate to do it. It's better than
no. It's fine. It's fine. So, folks, we'll be right back, and we will talk to you in just a minute. Well, how many minutes is it going to be? Is it 2 minutes or 3 or 4? What is it?
Between 3 to 5. Hurry.
Okay. Excellent.
Hurry. I mean, to the audience. Well, and to you.
All right. Well, okay. We'll be back in a couple minutes. See you then.
Who is it? How'd you get this number?
Hey, Ken. Hey, man, it's George. Hey, man, what are you doing?
Right now, I'm trying to chop ice off of my deck here before somebody breaks their neck. What are you doing today?
Me? Oh, ghost hunting. Hey, listen, Bill from KGRE wants us to do a commercial, a promo for the show for them to play. Got any ideas?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to film a commercial or something like that. Well, hey, why don't we just do a montage or something, like clips from the show, and just call it a day?
Okay, yeah. Just put a bunch of highlighted parts of the show. Not a problem. I'll take care of that. Listen, have a great day. I'm almost done here.
Yeah, all right, man. Let me know how you make out, all right? Yeah, you bet. Be good. I'm okay.
Tony, I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, you know what? That's why I hate when they say that, oh, people in the Northeast are so rude. I'm like, you, I'm down here and I'm being nice, and everybody's like, you know, not even a wave. I'm like, you're not going to get the coronavirus from waving at somebody.
A little close up to you. Check this out. Hello.
Hang on, let's get us on camera again so we can wave. Wave back, Robert.
Yep.
If you wait.
Robert, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing some time, inviting us into your home.
I co-authored a book with Andrea Perrin, if anybody was not aware of that.
No one is aware of that.
No, and I've never been to the Conjuring House. I wrote a book.
We're going to do this again.
With Andrea Perrin, and I've still never been to the farmhouse. Did I mention I wrote a book with Andrea? I wanted to, it's over my shoulder there, and I've never been.
We took a 2-week absence from this, and now we're back with
to the Conjuring House.
Dude, I'm hiding, man. It's COVID. Oh, I'm sorry. It's
What's going on?
I love that blanket. I'm having blanket envy.
I know you are right now, right?
Yes.
Sometimes I move it around with my body. It's like Ouija meets Twister. In the middle of the night, I contact spirits just by rolling around on it naked.
Watch Dead Air on KGRADB.com Sundays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
And also, don't forget to check out KGRA YouTube and KGRA on Facebook for all the amazing shows, guests, and topics. Did I mention that I wrote a book with Andrea Perrin?
Hey, welcome back to Sky Tour Radio. It is, who am I? I'm Mark. Yes, I'm Mark. That's Tara. That's Amanda. And that's Daryl. Okay, yes. The names. I know it says Commanda, and she is sort of our commander. She tells us what to do, when to do it, and we just hop to. We got to do whatever she says. So before the break, we were talking about the mission of James Webb, and Daryl and I had some private chat, and in the private chat, he hit it right on the money. He knows exactly what the primary mission of the Webb is as well, and we'll mention that in a moment. But one of the things too we got to keep in mind is when we go back to these instruments on the James Webb, you'll notice also there's this one that's on the upper diagram. You have NIRCam, which we know what that is. That's the near infrared camera, and then we have MIRI, which is the mid infrared imager. And then we have NIRIS. What is that? Well, it's the near infrared imaging slitless spectrograph. Now, what that does is it breaks up the light into its components so that we can actually see the absorption lines and the emission lines. That is to say, signatures in the spectrum that tell us what these objects are. And guess what? Based on where those objects are, where those lines line up in the spectrum, they might be shifted from where they normally go. And that shift is called redshift. We don't see that in many objects that we look at in the night sky, like nebulae and so forth, but we do see it in galaxies that are far away. Now, Amanda did a beautiful analogy that sort of points out why redshift is important. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But when we talk about the expansion of the universe, all right, if you take a balloon and blow it up to about this big, just like a little ball, and you put a bunch of black dots all over it, so they're all closely spaced, and you blow that balloon up some more, all the black dots move away from every other black dot on that balloon. Remember that experiment you did, Amanda?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that video though. That's good.
That's okay. I'll have to explain it.
Yeah.
Well, that means that there's expansion going on with every object moving away from every other. But the most important thing about that is where you're blowing it up, the objects near you are not moving away at nearly the rate that the objects far away from you are. That's a very important feature here. That, in a nutshell, is what redshift is. The farther an object is, the faster it's moving away from you. See? It's the balloon analogy with a new meaning. And that is
also known as the raisin bread analogy.
That's correct. And the raisin bread, when you talk about raisins in a bread that's rising, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the farther apart the
easier
raisins
than baking.
are,
What's
the
that?
faster they're moving away from each other.
Yes, that's right. So that inflation then of the balloon is a good analogy for what we see with galaxies out there. We see galaxies really far away. They're moving away faster from us than the galaxies closer to us. You follow? And we assign a parameter to that called the redshift. And from that redshift, we can get their distance. We can get their recessional velocity, how fast they're moving away. Well, guess what? When we look at the data from the Hubble captures light in the visible spectrum primarily. Well, if we look at distant galaxies, some of those distant galaxies, the Hubble can't see. And you'll say, well, why is that? It's not because they're too dim. It's because they're moving too fast. And you're going, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And how can that be? Well, the faster an object moves, the more its information is shifted into the red. That's the redshift part of this again. And there are galaxies moving so fast because they're so far away from us that their movements and their data is entirely in, guess where? The infrared, which is what Daryl was going to talk about earlier. Okay. I had to stop him because I didn't want him to give that part away. But that infrared is what is one of the primary missions of the James Webb Space Telescope, is to look for the galaxies in that region, the galaxies that are so far away, moving so fast away from us, that all of their data is in the infrared.
Yep. When we look at the Hubble Deep Field or the ultra deep fields, the dimmest, reddest little things we can see are galaxies at the limit of what the Hubble can still detect at visible wavelengths.
Yep.
And the farther away they are, the faster they're moving. This is where you get into what they call cosmic redshift. And what should be visible objects are redshifted so far, they're no longer at visible wavelengths to us.
That's
and
right.
This ultimately is what the Webb is intended to look out farther than Hubble, is to see things that have been cosmically redshifted into the infrared.
That's right.
And you're looking back toward the Big Bang then.
That's right. And what we're seeing right here on the screen, this is the Hubble Deep Field. You can download an image of this that's so large that you can zoom in detail on many of these little galaxies down here and see all kinds of stuff that you would not believe. Now, this is a visible light view. Now, some of these galaxies, you'll notice they are redder than other galaxies. That's because their light has been redshifted. And so far, okay, like at the top on the left, you can see a galaxy that looks like it's mostly red. Well, that's in the red end of the spectrum. Undoubtedly, some of its light is in the infrared, but we cannot see it because the Hubble could not see it. And therefore, there's galaxies out there that are so far away, moving so fast, that all of their data, all their light is shifted into the infrared proper, so we can't see them at all. And James Webb is designed to be able to see those galaxies too. So that means we can see back further than Hubble can. In other words, remember, the universe is a time machine. When we look up at the universe, we see it as it was, not as it is. In all cases, the sun, 8 minutes ago, okay? So, right? So the nearest star, 4.3 years ago, and so forth and so on, out to the furthest galaxies, billions of years ago, we see them, right? So that's what this is all about. And that inflation process and what Daryl was talking about, what I'm talking about, That's where this all lives. And so the James Webb Space Telescope is going to look in that region of the spectrum where we cannot yet see out in the deep universe. It's really exciting because we don't know what it really looks like back there. Ooh, that could be just exciting. You know, I mean, I'm an astronomer. That gets me all excited. Oh, yeah, it makes me go crazy. You know, Tara's just sitting there going, okay, I'm weird. All right, I get it.
Well, we know that, yeah.
Yeah, see,
but it makes me think of a question that Kathy Prinisek was asking as well. You're talking about they're looking back further. How do we know where to look? How do they know where to look where the origin is? Because doesn't everything look the same no matter what direction we look?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Okay, we don't know where we are in the universe relative to where the Big Bang occurred. We're somewhere. We don't know where we are precisely. In fact, I don't even think we know imprecisely where we are. We don't really know our place in the universe. We just know what it looks like from here. But it's so vast that we're seeing the same effects every direction we look. It's so vast that every direction we look, we can see the CMB, the cosmic microwave background, the furthest vestigial remnant that we were able to detect with non-visual telescopes, okay, to be able to see back to the point where the universe was still what we call opaque. It was just starting to clear up so that we could see photons from that region, and that's why we see them. It was right at the point where atoms started to be made, and it was after the point where it was just plasma and just high energy protons and electrons running around. And so that was opaque to us. And so James Webb is going to be looking back, not that far, but it's going to be looking back to the point where we can see what the galaxies were doing at their earliest stages of their development.
The usual broad answer to Kathy's question is, well, you know, where did the Big Bang happen? It didn't happen here. It didn't happen over there. It happened everywhere. That, the whole universe just started and the Big Bang happened every place. And to talk about what's outside the universe is sort of a meaningless statement because that's outside what we can experience.
It is, but it doesn't stop the question from being asked, and it's still a valid question, really. We know there's a definitive size to the universe, and that size is just over 92 billion light years in diameter. Wow. So you might say, wait a minute, but the universe is only 13.8 billion years old. What do you mean it's 92? How do you know? Well, how can you say that? Well, because you're seeing the light as it was 13.8 billion years ago, but it took that light 13.8 billion years to get to you. All that time, it was still expanding after that light got here, right? So it's even bigger than that. And there's a few other factors involved, but that takes us to a final diameter of about 92 billion light years. And the valid question is, what's on the other side at 93 billion light years? That's still valid. And I don't know the answer. Nobody knows. But there's a suspicion, and Daryl doesn't like this answer, but that's okay because, you know, there are people that are in the same camp, and I'm sort of on the fence. I just throw out the evidence. And that is to say that the reason that our universe might be accelerating in its expansion is because there's dark energy in the universe, which actually causes every object to accelerate away from every other object. It's a repulsive force pushing everything away. That is the common, I'd say explanation that you hear now. Personally, I think that dark energy is sort of a kludge. It's not really, it's a placeholder because we don't really know what's really causing it. Okay. And that I think is to be discovered. We don't know that. See? So that said, now you see that's the primary mission then is to look at these oldest of galaxies.
Is it fair to say, I mean, if we can detect the cosmic microwave background, okay, microwave being the next step beyond infrared, that what we're going to look at with the Webb telescope is between what we can see with the Hubble and what we can see with the cosmic microwave background. We're trying to see what's in between there.
Exactly so. And because we don't know what's in between there. We don't have a way to see that. Right? Now, there is a Hubble Deep Field that was done that was in the infrared. That's this. Okay. Looks kind of the same, but you'll notice something. You'll notice the galaxies are a little bit redder. And that's because some of them are redshifted more. The one on the far right, just below center, looks like it's very red. That galaxy undoubtedly has data that's in the full infrared that we can't see. All right. But this is the best that Hubble could do. And the James Webb is about 100 times better. So we're looking at not just a leap, but a full bound above what Hubble can do. 8-foot diameter mirror versus 21-foot diameter. Spitzer at 2.8 feet in diameter compared to 21 feet in diameter, okay, for the James Webb. So we're talking about a miraculous. I'm going to just be beside myself for the next 180 days. I can tell you that. Okay, I'm going to follow every development. And don't worry, I'm not going to kill you with it. Okay, I'll just mention it now and then. But so the first mission is these ancient galaxies, as Daryl and I have been saying. The second mission, on the other hand, is something even more up my alley. Okay, yes, I want to see ancient galaxies, but you know what? I'm not so excited about ancient galaxies as I am about this stuff. Remember this stuff? Interstellar dust.
Not what I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were going to talk about exoplanets because that's your thing. That does not look like an exoplanet.
It's not an exoplanet, but it's the beginning of one.
Oh,
okay. This is the interstellar dust. Actually, this was actually picked up by one of our probes. It's solar system dust. And if you notice down the bottom, it's 2 micron is the size of that gauge down there. So this is a fairly, I don't know, there's about 6 microns, 7 microns in length. Okay. It's a conglomerate. It's a bunch of particles all stuck together. Okay. Many, many, many atoms, obviously. At 2 microns, we're talking about tens of thousands of atoms or more, hundreds of thousands. So this dust, it's the dust that is in our solar system.
That term made my heart stop for a second. You said solar system dust, and that's pretty huge. I mean, solar system dust. Think about that term for a second.
Well, would you see remember the zodiacal light I showed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those were dust particles you could see with your eye. Okay, a particle like this probably wouldn't reflect enough light back. So there's many of these particles out there, and then there's many other particles that actually capture the sunlight, and you see it reflected back to your eye as that diagonal light you see that I thought was light pollution. When I first saw the SkyTour live stream site, I thought it was light pollution, and it is, but it's light pollution that's natural. It's caused by the solar system dust, the remnant of the formation of the solar system left over. Okay. And those dust particles are important. I told you this before. This is like a little silicate core, silicon. And then it has methanol, CH3OH, H2CO, formaldehyde. The blue is ices. These little particles get ices on them. And I'm not going to go through all that now, but what happens is all this dust in a conglomeration like that together can form a little dark nebula, a nebula like this one. Okay, this is a beautiful dark nebula. You can see the dark strands of dust, okay, made of much of the same stuff that we see in this image, okay? And then we have objects like this. This is called the Iris Nebula. These are all images we did with SkyTour Livestream, okay? Then one that we liked a lot was this one. This is called the Seahorse. It's a long, black, stringy thing. Now, why am I showing you this? Because this is the second mission of the James Webb Space Telescope. It's going to look in these dark nebulae and find out what's going on in there. We know that stars form in here. Why do we know that? Because here's one. There's a star that formed in there, and the dust in this particular nebula is being a receiver of the starlight coming in, and it's reflecting the starlight back out. And that's called a reflection nebula. All right. So these dust particles formed, or actually a star formed in there and then started lighting up this nebula. And we see that often. We see that in nebula like this. Okay, this nebula here is called the Cave. On the right side of center, you see this dark nebula. And further to the right, all the way at the edge, you see another dark nebula. And to the left, left of center and over to the edge, that's all dark nebula. It's not a void. It's not missing stuff. And there's a star cluster just above center associated with more dark nebula. And this star cluster is ionizing the hydrogen gas in the region and making it glow red like this. If not for that, you wouldn't know it was there. James Webb, on the other hand, would be able to see it. So the James Webb isn't going to look at star clusters per se. It's going to look inside the dark nebulas like that on the right of center. It's going to look inside the clusters, the dark nebulae that is inside of things like this here in the upper right, that dark area, above center, a dark area, okay? It's going to find out what's going on in there. Star formation, planetary formation. You know?
I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, there's an excellent video on YouTube called Floating Along the Milky Way.
Ah, yes.
And
love it.
It's a compendium of images built into a video from the Spitzer Space Telescope, the Webb's little brother. And it shows beautifully how infrared can see inside these dark clouds. Yep. It will just blow your mind if you look at it. Don't look at it now, but look it up sometime, floating along the Milky Way. And it like when we look toward the middle of our galaxy, we cannot see it directly because of intervening gas and dust. And, well, in this video, it shows you the center of the Milky Way in infrared.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's a moment of zen.
Yeah. Now you see, you wonder, like, when you look at an object, like here's a well-known object everybody knows, it's the Pleiades. Okay. But you see the stars, you don't necessarily know there's all this dust around. And what I've done is I've removed the stars with artificial intelligence algorithms, and you can actually see the dust strands and how this dust is affecting this entire region. Similarly, with this here, this is called the Cone Nebula, just below center because it looks like a cone, and just above it, just above center is the Christmas tree cluster, and it's blue. It's a reflection nebula, and the star cluster is ionizing hydrogen gas in the region, causing it to glow red. Well, without stars, it positively looks like a painting. That's
so
the actual
pretty. Oh my gosh.
Without stars. You see?
Oh my gosh.
So, but now you can see this is why James Webb, this is the secondary mission. It's going to look in here and see what's going on under the covers, what's going on inside all this dust. Okay. Now, to take us to a further level, now that you understand all this, and now that you know all about the James Webb and where it stands and the instrumentation, the near infrared cam, the mid infrared cam, the near infrared slitless spectrometer, all those things, all the instruments. Thank you, Kathy. Why don't we initiate our deep dive with Daryl and head into looking at some of these other objects in the sky. And he's going to take us through the night sky as it is now and moving on through the season just a little bit. And we've got some Sky Tour live stream stuff. And then after that, I want to hear from Tara because I think she's got some really good questions for us.
Yay.
Okay, here we go. This is my sky. A little while ago, this is showing right when the sun is setting. Now, you've been hearing me talk about Venus up in the southwest for months. And if you look here, Venus passed the sun yesterday. Venus went through what's called inferior conjunction. Venus passed between the Earth and the sun, and Venus is now moving into the morning sky. It is just plain gone from the evening sky. If you could see Venus in a close-up right now, which some people have, but it's rather dangerous to do because you're pointing the telescope very close to the sun, you would see an extremely skinny crescent. You might even see it going completely all the way around the body of the planet. But Venus is going to continue moving down and to the right until it's going to come up before sunrise, and you'll see it if you go out and look early in some days from now, that Venus has moved from the evening to the morning sky. But now what we see Mercury has popped up and has taken Venus's place. You need a good southwest horizon to see it, but you will see Mercury has moved up, and if you check it from day to day, you see Mercury is moving closer and closer to Saturn. Now, where we saw Venus round the corner in its orbit as seen from Earth a couple of months ago, Mercury, because it's closer to the sun and is moving quicker, it's going to round the corner right about on the 11th, and you see it's going to start moving away from the sun again. And then Mercury is going to pass between the sun and Earth, and it's also going to rejoin Venus in the morning sky. Saturn is dimmer than Mercury. You probably still need binoculars to see it. If you got a really good horizon, you might see it naked eye. It is a rare sight. If you can see Mercury right now, it is a tiny little crescent phase also, like Venus went through as it moved closer to the sun. Then you've got Jupiter, and that red line, that is the plane of the ecliptic you hear me talk about. That's the highway in the sky that the sun and all the planets move along. You see that? There's Mercury, there's Saturn, there's Jupiter, here's Uranus. Moving on over, well, that's the plane that the sun moves. That's, strictly speaking, that's the plane that the Earth orbits around the sun. But because the planets all pretty closely stick in that same plane, that is the plane that all the planets, except for Pluto, hang out at. And we're going to move now to constellations. Getting to, whoops, my fault. Sorry about that.
Minor earthquake.
Yeah, let me get that set here. And we're going to advance the time to, let's see, we'll go back ways. I may have mentioned recently that Orion transited the green line. There is the meridian. That is the line that runs from due south to due north and passes straight overhead. And the zenith, where it is directly overhead, is on this line halfway up, 90 degrees up, between the southern and the northern horizons. Well, Orion transited the meridian at midnight, local midnight, back about December 15th. That's called a culmination. That's when Orion moved from the morning sky to the evening sky. It did that about December 15th at midnight. And here it is now. It's only, 9:30 at night, and Orion is transiting the meridian now. And, that's in January. We will go back to, today is the 9th. So we're going to advance the time. By 10:30 at night, Orion has already transited the meridian. But what's coming up next is the star Sirius. Sirius, we'll give it another hour. You see, by 11:30, Sirius has transited the meridian. Now, Sirius culminated, crossing meridian at local midnight on December 31st, New Year's Eve, the beginning of 2022. And now Sirius has joined Orion in the western half of the sky. Strictly speaking, they are both now evening objects. So this is us marching around the sun along the plane of the ecliptic, and time marches on. That we're now heading into springtime with Leo, and here comes Virgo over in the east, and time marches on ineluctably. We wanted to wind up in this part of the sky tonight because I think Mark has some really cool pictures to share with you in the Orion and Monoceros areas. Monoceros means one horn. When I was a little kid, the Triceratops, that three-horned dinosaur, was my favorite dinosaur. Well, Triceratops means three horns. Monoceros means one horn. That is the unicorn, okay? And there's his head, and I guess that's his horn right there.
See, unicorns exist.
Sure they do. Read The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle sometime. It's a beautiful book. It's a lot of fun, too. But anyway, here we are now at 11:30 at night. Mark, what would you like to look toward?
Oh my gosh, it's endless. Let's begin with the Orion Nebula. You can't ever go wrong with that. The Orion Nebula is about 1,500 light years away. It's around 24 light years across. It's probably the brightest northern hemisphere nebula you can see with your eye, and it is something that is right below the belt of three, as you can see in Daryl's image there. And it's a beautiful, beautiful location. This is what it looks like in the telescope. All right. That is the nebula down below. It's powered by 4 stars that are vastly overexposed in this image. Those 4 stars are called the trapezium because of the shape they make to each other, kind of like a trapezoid. They're just sort of like a square where the 2 top points are pulled in a little bit. And then up above is a really cool nebula called the Running Man. And the Running Man Nebula is, and these all have designations. That's Messier 42 for Orion Nebula, NGC 1977, I believe, for the Running Man. And if you notice, the Running Man is a combination nebula. It actually has red and it has blue in it. Interesting, too, because if you look at the color, that red isn't really red, is it? It's purple. See how it has purple in it? Well, that's still hydrogen alpha. That is, say, the glowing hydrogen gas. But we're seeing it through glowing, the glow of the blue illumination. That's scattered light from the stars up there and on dust. And because of for the same reason that the sky is blue, all right, scattering of the sun's high frequency photons, which is blue, and the same for these stars, that nebula will appear blue. And so deep inside this nebula, there is also a location where the stars are causing the hydrogen gas to glow. But the glow is red. So why is it looking purple? It looks purple because of the nature of a red light coming through bluish light. All right. So it's made to look that way because it's immersed inside this blue glow. All right. So this is it. And if you notice, in between the Running Man at the top and the Orion Nebula down below, you see what look like dark dust clouds. That's exactly what they are. Dust clouds. The formation of stars and possibly planets always occurs in the dark regions of the universe. So that's the Orion Nebula. Now, just to see these dust clouds in more detail, I've used that artificial intelligence algorithm to remove the stars. And this is what it looks like without stars. So that's the one with stars. My apology. I didn't put the one without that. But this shows you a deeper shot. I didn't remove the stars from this. Okay, but you can see all that dust. All right, so that's what's really there that you can't see. See, but when you take a long exposure or when you look at it with the right kind of sensor like the James Webb will have, we're going to be able to see a lot more than we've ever been able to see.
Yep, and when you see that deep image, even that is only a small part of what's called the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex, which
that's right,
suffuses pretty much all of Orion there.
That's right.
Okay, are we back now? I bet you want to show the horse head next.
I do, but I just want to do one more thing, if I may. I just realized, Daryl, there's I showed the Orion Nebula, and I have that up on the screen again now, and I showed that really deep shot of it. But now, if we go down below the Orion Nebula, all right, down below the Orion Nebula is a location that doesn't look like it has too much going on there, does it? Right? Exactly, that area, like the 13th Pearl location, Daryl. Okay? And that's right down below the nebula. So what is really going on there? Let me show you. This is an image, a deep image I took the other night of that location. Look at that. The Orion Nebula is vastly overexposed at the top. And down below, look at all the dust. Look at all the dark clouds. Look at all the intricate tapestry of dark clouds and knotty features we see. This is exactly the kind of thing that the James Webb Telescope will be looking into and peering into to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right,
Amanda
Daryl
has a question.
I do, and actually, I'm glad I waited because that last statement kind of got my mind working more. Okay, well, earlier in chat, Kathy had asked if any of you had heard about a new supernova. I'm hoping, I know Daryl doesn't know too much about it, but maybe you can touch on it. But I was just thinking, if we found something new like a supernova, and now with James Webb, I'm hoping we find all sorts of new stuff out there. Yeah. How long would it take for something like Stellarium to be updated so we could start exploring ourselves? I
couldn't speak for Stellarium.
Yeah, I can't
or programs like that, like what was it, Sandbox? I forget what it's called now.
Universe Sandbox.
Yeah, like just programs like that. Like, I mean, I know it's going to take long to get data and images and put this up in some kind of program we can manipulate, but like, I don't know, with everything being so up to date, I just wonder how long before we can start talking about it on this show with images, for example.
Well, the news will be rolling in, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in as timely a manner as possible. What happened with this recent supernova? It happened in another galaxy. I forget which one. It's not close. It's like 160 million light years away, I think.
Is this NGC 1566?
I forget.
Okay.
But they managed to catch this red supergiant star before it exploded in a supernova, and they actually watched the supernova happen.
Wow.
Now, this is something that
That's
usually supernovas we catch after the fact.
Right.
And because we usually see supernovas in other galaxies, well, the supernova will happen, alerts will go out, and then everybody will start pointing their telescopes at the supernova, but it's after the fact. We didn't see it happen. This time we did see it happen from before it occurred and up to now when it just has happened from our point of view. Actually happened 160 million years ago. But we were able to see this supernova happen from the beginning, which is something new for us.
Yeah, very rare.
We've talked about Betelgeuse possibly going supernova in the future.
I can't wait.
Yes, and Betelgeuse is right there. Come on, right there is Betelgeuse. And I'm sure people are keeping a close eye on Betelgeuse now, that if it pops, hopefully we will see it before and when it happens. And that will give us much better ringside seat than seeing it happen in a galaxy 160 million light years away.
And it'll be something that happens that will be harmless to us because it's about 750 light years away. So it would have happened 750 years ago if it happens tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, and I like Kathy. She's a dreamer like I am. She's wondering if we're ever going to see video of that star going supernova. I'm going to think of it like a UFO. You can't find your camera at the time until it's over and we don't have it. But now, well, one, will we get to see video? I'm doubtful. Tell me a million cameras are pointed at Betelgeuse at all times, right?
There might be some people that are studying Betelgeuse, but remember, it depends where that camera is. If it's on the day side of the Earth and it needs nighttime to show up before it can see Betelgeuse, well, that's a problem. Now, Betelgeuse might show us some telltale signs that it's going supernova. There might be some neutrinos that might reach us ahead of time because neutrino surges are common before a supernova. If we see that, then all cameras that can be would probably be tuned onto Betelgeuse.
Yeah,
but we know this is going to happen. Why take the chance that we don't get the clues? Why isn't everybody on the planet aiming cameras at this 24/7?
Telescope time is expensive at professional observatories, and Betelgeuse might blow tomorrow. It might blow 100,000 years from now. We just do not know. But this is something that the recent supernova discovery is going to teach us, is because they saw certain things happening in and around this star in another galaxy before it exploded. There was some sort of brightening going on. Again, I'm not too up on the particulars of it, but they saw certain things happening that could turn out to be very useful clues to watch for with Betelgeuse
Mm-hmm.
before it explodes.
Yeah, that's what Kathy's saying, that they had several months of warnings. The astronomers had several months of warning from that star, and she thinks that they may have been taking video. So, yeah, I guess we have a mission for the week.
But keep in mind that what would a supernova look like on video from a distant galaxy? You'd see the galaxy, then suddenly you'd see a bright star. You wouldn't see anything else. You just see the star, a particular star, get very bright. It would stay that way maybe for a few weeks to a few months, and it would fade slowly. That's the extent of video from a distant galaxy. But if Betelgeuse goes up, you can bet your bippy, to go back to Rowan and Martin's laughing, okay? You can bet your sweet bippy. That's right. Thank you. That they're going to train the James Webb on it, and you're going to be able to see in the infrared. You're going to be able to see the data that can't be seen in the visual range, and we'll see mostly, probably, the very core of that supernova expanding out from Betelgeuse. Yep. And that would be very, very interesting to see. So let's just move on from this, because I want to get to Tara, because I want to hit Tara. I want Tara to start in just a few minutes. But where Daryl is now is the Horsehead Nebula, another beautiful area. It's just below Alnitak, which is the leftmost star in the belt of three. You have Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. Now, I've talked about it before, but this is the SkyTour live stream west shot of the Horsehead. And you see Alnitak up there. It's bright. And you see the Horsehead. And you see, to the right of the Horsehead, you see Sigma Orionis, which is that multiple star. Okay, you see kind of a lone sitting there right of center, low right center. And that's thought that star is what's causing that hydrogen to glow just behind the Horsehead. And then up at Alnitak is thought to be causing the Flame Nebula thank you, Kathy, that Flame Nebula to the left to glow as well. So this is a beautiful location. It's a beautiful star. I just did a quick process of this. Alnitak's color is not quite right, but don't worry about it. I want you to see the nebula. I want you to see the complexity in here. This is beautiful. All right. So these are the hidden gems, and that dark dust again are the things that the James Webb is going to be diving into. Yep. So Daryl, maybe one more object, huh? Just to do.
Okay. Where do you want to go? Monteceros?
Yeah, actually, go to the. Let's just quickly run on the way to the Rosette. Let's just go to NGC 2245. I believe this guy here. This is a beautiful dark nebula in a reflection nebula, and to the left, you actually see the red gas that's glowing. That's actually that's possibly a gas that's related to the Rosette structure. Just a little bit further away, and to that part of the cloud. But this is a beautiful dark nebula. It snakes from one reflection nebula down to another. It's really stunning. And then just to its left, okay, and that's okay. Now then we're going to take ourselves down now to the Rosette Daryl. That was just a quick stop. It was sort of a bathroom break along the cosmic tour. So now we're going to
scenic route.
No, the scenic route, but it's actually on the way. It's it's just like just take an exit, stop at the scenic overlook, and then move on. Okay. So now if you want to jump to the Rosette.
Yes, bear with me.
Sure, no worries.
Typo City here. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, so that's the Rosette in this stellarium, but this is the Rosette through SkyTour live stream. It takes my breath away. This shot is actually just amazing. Again, it points out something very important. This bright, hot cluster of stars in the middle, okay, literally excavated a cavity around themselves with their hot stellar winds. And that's why it looks like a hole in the middle, because it really is a hole in the middle. The stars have blown everything out from the center. And that's very common when you see young hot star clusters in a nebula. That happens quite a bit. So this, again, this is all in this dark nebula here. There's dark nebula outside this range. You can't see it because it's dark, and there's nothing illuminating it. So you could only see it by using an instrument that can look at the residual heat, the very, very faint heat given off by this. The James Webb, if it maps this area, it's going to find the most amazing warm, dark nebula around here. And we're going to find that the Rosette is not just an isolated gas, glowing ionized gas cloud with some dark nebula in it. It's probably part of a massive, massive complex. Thank you, PG.
See, I like this one because I actually see what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to look like a rose. It does look like a rose. I see this one. Right. I like this one. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
If unicorns are magical, well, Monoceros constellation is magical because it's got such cool things to look at.
That's right.
We barely even scratched the surface.
I know.
Let's get to Terra.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. So we're done with that. The deep dive with Daryl is over. We'll have him back next week, of course, because he's part of this. And I can't wait to see what we got next, and we'll make it all happen.
Oh, so thank you. Fun segment.
It is.
Very cool.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah. Thanks, Daryl.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm back on camera. I guess I got to look more presentable again.
Wake up.
Maybe you should try the infrared more often.
Yeah, astronomer joke. Anyway, so Tara.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi.
You've been there with a smile. Your face is probably sore from smiling all the time.
Nah.
But I enjoy that you like coming here and being part of this with us. So
it's very interesting.
It is. And this is your segment. This is your time. It's called Tara's Cosmos. And I'd like to know what you have to ask us, because you always have some very interesting stuff to say.
Well, there's so much to ask and so little time, but I'm curious about the Lagrange points. I don't know a huge lot about them. I've learned a little bit about them, but I knew when I first learned about them, they were so mysterious. And so I'm wondering, can you see them from Earth with equipment or instrumentation? And then what I just learned too was that there's the things that are in Lagrange points have orbits. I just thought they were just there stationary. Obviously, there's the 3 that do one, the 2 that do the other.
Right.
But I'm curious about that. And then the other is who regulates what's in these points? And can we see everything that's in all of these points, or can there be people spying on us from these points?
Well, that's actually a good question. Let me bring up a Lagrange point diagram that as you were asking the question, I dug it up because we've done this. Okay. We've seen this on used this on previous occasions. These are the Lagrange points I was telling you about. Okay, this is Lagrange point 1 right here. This is between the Earth and the Sun. Think of it as the balance point between the Earth and the Sun's gravity. It makes sense that it'd be closer to the Earth than to the Sun because the Sun is bigger and has a lot more gravity than the Earth. Lagrange point 3 is over here. It's a balance point. Okay. Remember, these are all in orbit. These are moving in an orbit around the Sun. Okay. So as this is moving here, okay, it's moving at just the right speed so that the gravitational forces on the far side of the Earth balance, and we don't have any issues. Then we have Lagrange point 2 out here. Now, this is not at all to scale. But Lagrange point 2 is about 1 million miles away from the Earth. Okay, the Moon for scale is 240,000 miles away, and this James Webb just blasted past the Moon in just a couple days, and it was past the Moon. And now out here, this Lagrange point, and this one, L1, L2, and L3. Are called metastable, partially stable. L4 here is stable. L5 is stable. If you park yourself in this orbit, you don't need any additional assistance to stay there. Okay? You'll stay there. The balance is perfect. You won't find that you're being pulled out of the orbit by something else like Jupiter tugging on you or something, or Venus or whatever. Right? L2, on the other hand, in this particular case, requires that you maintain that orbit. But the maintenance is cheap. It doesn't require a whole lot. It's almost stable, in other words. Okay. So this orbiting system here, this is highly, highly exaggerated. But this exaggerated orbit just shows you by moving it around like this, it's going to allow the James Webb to be stable in the Lagrange point 2 location. Now, if there's people that have put other things at other Lagrange points, well, that could be, problematic. We don't know of any. However, we do know that there's a few asteroids here at L4 and a few asteroids here at L5. We don't know of any at L1 or 2. Okay.
Actually, the Soho Observatory, the solar, whatever heliospheric observatory, it's parked at the L1 point.
Yeah. I was getting to that part, but I was saying we don't have any. There's asteroids at L4 and L5.
Okay.
All right, but we don't have anything that we know of in L1, 2, or 3, other than the Soho Solar Heliospherical Observatory, which is at L1, and that's the doesn't require a lot of energy to stay there. And unfortunately, the Soho Observatory is also used by people to, they look at the images and say, "Oh, look, it's this cosmic ray strike is really an alien spacecraft." I mean, I may very well be MUFON's chief photo and video analyst, but I'm not someone that's going to say that the Soho spacecraft is capturing aliens. It's capturing cosmic ray strikes on the sensor. You have to know the difference, that kind of thing. So L1 has a human-made contraption at it. L2 does not. L3, I don't think, does. L4 and L5 have natural objects there, asteroids. And there's no danger from those. They're orbiting just like we're orbiting, so that's not a problem. If something comes along to whack them, well, then they'll leave that orbit and go into a different orbit, which could eventually be a problem for us. But so far, nothing's whacking them.
I might add, other planets also have Lagrange points. Yeah. And Jupiter's, for instance, at Jupiter's L4 and L5 points, 60 degrees ahead of and behind Jupiter in its orbit around the sun are what are called the Trojan asteroids.
Yeah.
And there are a ton of them out there.
And Jupiter is a big boy.
Yep. And they're not all right at the L4 and L5. They can be ahead and behind, and they move around a little bit, but they do tend to stay centered on the L4 and L5 points. And there's a ton of them out there.
And the reason that they stay stable, the reason they're there is because these are stable Lagrange points. Okay, stable. Okay, L1, 2, and 3 are not. They're metastable. So go ahead. I think, Amanda, you had a question?
No, well, it just, again, these crazy thoughts pop into my head. How far out do Saturn's rings go? That wouldn't affect the Lagrange points for Saturn, would it? I think Uranus and possibly Neptune have rings, maybe?
They do.
They do.
Would that affect
their
Lagrange points? Not far enough out.
No, there's not an issue. I mean, Saturn does. Interestingly, we find that Saturn had rings farther out than we ever thought once we got there and saw various things. Same thing with Jupiter. We found Jupiter actually had rings when we didn't know it did. Okay. But the Lagrange points are a lot further out than the proximity objects like ring systems. So we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Does it have to do with gravity at all?
Yes. In fact, gravity is the main part of the equation, Tara. It has to do with orbital speed and gravity. So, for instance, let's go to L4. At L4, these objects are orbiting this way, going around the sun, and the combined force of the gravity on L4 from the sun and the gravity from the Earth on L4 make it so that this object moving at that speed to stay in orbit, okay, is perfectly stable there. It's like sitting in a well, all right? It's not like being on top of a hill like L1, 2, or 3. When you're on top of a well like L1, 2, or 3, well, then it's a little bit different. Now you're looking at trying to maintain stability up on a hill that might have a slightly flat top. But at L4 and L5, you're in a valley. And so that valley makes it easier to stay there. See, that's the energy equation there, you see? So that's how that works.
And
we have to
go.
go.
While you're having fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got caught up in the excitement, Tara. Just
it's great.
Your questions get me
All good.
thinking, but yeah, I didn't mean to derail things. We gotta go.
Yeah,
we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we will. Well, folks, thank you very much for coming with us and enjoying our time tonight. We had a good time with you all here, and we look forward to seeing you all again. So this is Mark. That's Tara. That's Daryl. That's Amanda. We wish you all good night. Come back again soon.
Good night.
There. Bye.